Is it time to reveal your real magic and become seen, known, and valued? Hello and welcome to this video and to my world of soulful visibility. I am Reenak, Soulful Visibility Guide, and today I'm talking about the poem that awakened my soul calling. I've done a few the poem that videos, and so this is another one in that series. And the reason I'm sharing this with you, the poem that awakened my soul calling, is I know the people in my communities, the visionary leaders, the people who have that sense of soul calling and wanting to give your gifts and make a difference in the world and really feel that there's something bigger that's pushing you to step up to the next level. And this is about, really committing to taking the next scary and often unknown steps that are involved when we really get clear on and commit to the path of our soul's calling. So, but when you, as many of you have, set up a business around your soul's calling, you kind of go, I've got this message to give my gifts. I really want to make a difference in the world. I'm becoming a coach or holding space for groups or offering services that help others in some way. And there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn about the practice of holding space for transformation, about the practice of running a business, around visibility and marketing. And visibility can be busy work. So it's easy to kind of get lost in the different strategies and what the experts have to say. So instead of, I started this business to follow my soul calling, and now I'm kind of following all of these experts and what they say, start a blog, create a podcast, create a Facebook group, learn copywriting, here are the latest Instagram hacks, you have to be doing this, using Facebook ads. And it's very easy to go from trusting yourself and your own voice to trusting others. So there's a lot, and before you know it, instead of showing up as a visionary leader and following your own soul's voice, you're kind of giving your power away and following a path of success that might work for somebody else but might not feel aligned for you. So some of this is inevitable, it's trial and error, but it's also easy when we're not kind of following our soul's calling to waste time, energy, money, and other resources on things that are not aligned for us. So how does this work? So, we can easily make decisions from our head and look for the strategy, what other people say it will be successful, rather than following your own knowing. And I created another video around this called Ask Your Body, which is, how to check in with your body with decisions. Because if you are making decisions around, okay, do I set up a YouTube channel or a podcast? Where do I focus my energies? What's the next step for me? So that's really useful. I'll pull a link to the Ask Your Body video beneath where you're watching this. And then the other thing that comes, one of the reasons we get into our heads is we make decisions from FOMO, from fear of missing out, from scarcity, from anxiety, from, pushing or reacting. At this stage, everybody else is on Instagram. They're all on TikTok. I'm missing out. What's the latest new marketing strategy that they're saying? And also it can easily be, tell me what to do. That person is successful. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And we're kind of trusting others more than our own wisdom. So all of this is totally normal and very understandable. But what I want to share with you here, and what can you relate to here? And it depends what stage you're at on this journey, in this path of setting up your business. But what can you relate to here? Have you been there? Are you still, around this loop? Are you, in the practice of trusting your soul's voice? So just share with me in the comments, if you're watching this, what has been your experience. And there's no judgment. We just want to bring a lot of compassion to this here. It's really normal, and we all do it. And often this, getting into our head and focusing on strategies and getting, following other people's guidance is also a form of protection. It's also a form of hiding, because it's easier to get busy learning something new than it is to put ourselves out imperfectly into the world, to invite people into our world, to ask them to step in and have an experience with us relative to whatever we offer. So, what's this been like for you? How much time, money, energy, other resources have you invested in strategies that haven't worked for you, and maybe trying to do the outer work without having first create the inner foundations that will really allow you to receive people into your field to do the work you're here to do? So how can we get connected to your soul's calling and trust your guidance, and trust that there's a greater intelligence guiding you? So I want to share my story around this, and the other stories, the poem that I shared recently was the poem that broke through my visibility blocks, and the poem that can ignite unstoppable commitment. I'll put the links to those below. And the story that I'm going to share today is before both of those stories. So this was 2012. In the poem that can break through visibility blocks, I talked about how I used a poem to help me break through into leadership and get a CEO job. And this story is a year before that. This was in 2012, and this is just after I had gone for an interview for one of my dream jobs that I really thought would be perfect for me, and was really tongue-tied and flustered and couldn't communicate well. And also there was another, really strong candidate. I didn't get the job, and I was just really heartsore and broken. And 2012 was the summer of the London Olympics, and there was a lot of excitement in the city, and I just had been working really, really hard and pushing myself really hard. Had a really long commute into work. We had an inspection in the education centre I was working in. I've been just striving and feeling more and more off track and off purpose. And, I came across this poem at a time when I was just, nothing was working. I felt like nothing was working. I didn't get this job, and it really devastated me. I had also just, we just refurbished our kitchen in our new dream home that we'd moved into the year before. And I realised that I didn't like the colour that I'd chosen, and my intuition had been telling me to get in touch with the kitchen company and choose a different colour, and I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to my inner knowing. It wasn't a disaster, but it was another disappointment. I had been studying a poetry course, and academic poetry writing course, and again, it was a bit heady, and I wasn't happy with the grade that I was received. Whereas really my path was not in, writing academic poetry, but that was something that I was on this striving to get somewhere, and hitting all of these disappointments. So I was heading off to a poetry workshop with my teacher, Kim Rosen. This is before I did my training in the Poetry Depths Mystery School. I think this was my first weekend workshop of exploring this work. I had read her book and I was really excited about this. But I got on the train from London to Wales and I was just weary and heartsore. I felt like a plant in a pot that had not been watered for months. I just felt all shriveled up and dry and, undernourished. I remember just staring out the window, kind of going, I give up. Whatever I'm doing is not working. I just give up. So, which was a good place to be, even though it felt like, I don't know what I'm doing in my life. I don't know where I'm going, and this sucks, frankly. And when I got there, we were in this beautiful farmhouse retreat centre, and on the coffee table in the kitchen area, there was all of these poetry books that different people had brought. And in there, I discovered a poem that when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this poem has been written just for me. It's like, how did he know? He's just writing my life. I couldn't believe it. It was uncanny. It was uncanny. The first half of this poem just totally described my life. It totally described what I was feeling as I got on the train and what was going on. The poem was For a New Beginning by John O'Donoghue. In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you are ready to emerge. For a long time it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seductions of safety and the grey promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm for your soul senses the world that awaits you. So that's For a New Beginning by John O'Donoghue, and that book is also in my Speaking Yourself into Being ebook, which is the only place you can get that book with 55 poems for stepping into visibility is on one of my retreats, or the Magnetic Presence program. So if that's calling to you, I'll tell you a little bit about that before we finish. So this poem, the first half, as I said, I was like, oh my God, that's me. I could see how I had been willing myself on to the point of exhaustion. And I was finally allowing myself to feel, that's what I felt on the train, feeling this emptiness growing inside me. So this kind of surrender and really let myself feel what was bringing that into being. And this poem, it just reframed my experience. It gave me a totally new perspective, and it helped me to see how all the striving was actually resisting and unable to leave what I had outgrown, rather than stepping into more success and achievement in the world as I was striving for success in. It was time to change, time to let go of those seductions of safety, of the conventional career and the dream home, or that was there, but it was like, there's more. You've created enough success there's more. And the second half of the poem was much harder for me to relate to. It just, it felt like a coat that didn't fit. I just thought I didn't feel young with energy and dream, and I couldn't sense a path of plenitude. And my soul calling through this poem was asking me to commit to a future that was not yet clear, though your destination is not yet clear. I'm like, okay, I was really uncomfortable with that. I was like, show me the 5-year plan, show me the steps, and then I will take forward. Show me where I'm going. It's like I wanted to know my life's purpose, but it's like I wanted to have it all laid out before I would take a step. I was very uncomfortable with that risk. So, and now I began to sense that maybe destiny doesn't have a map. And I saw how I'd been squeezing myself into places in my life that didn't fit me, that didn't fit who I was and who my soul was calling me to become. So this was a huge, huge breakthrough for me. And the rest in that workshop, and also for the rest of that summer, the summer of 2012, I learned, I lived and breathed this For a New Beginning poem. I really, I read it, I spoke it, I kept repeating those lines and building my energetic home in the new rhythm that the poem was awakening for me, stepping into my commitment to this possibility without knowing what that was. I didn't know what it was, but I felt the energy of it, and I'm saying yes to this through this, deep work with the poem, and really letting it be my companion, my teacher, my soul guide. And the poem became a prayer that called into my life many things that led me to where I am now and the work that I'm doing now. It brought me to feminine power teachings and trainings, which really, ended up becoming the foundation for my transformational coach and facilitation training. It also brought me deeper into the poetry work. I ended up working in the Poetry Depths Mystery School. It was a 3-year intensive training, and working for 6 years with my teacher Kim Rosen to really embody the poetry work that is now part of what I do with visibility. And it returned me from this kind of conventional, high-powered career in London, and long commutes to, coming back to my soul's path. And so when I did get the CEO role, it was without a commute, it was close to home, and it was with enough space in my life, to, not a full-time job. It was 4 days a week, plus. But anyway, I chose that so I could continue working on the side, on my soul's path, on my transformation path. So that really influenced where I was going. So take a moment here to what resonates with you about this poem and this story. Where can you see yourself here? Where are you, afraid to step into the new beginning? Where are you playing with the seductions of safety and afraid to let go of what you have outgrown? Because we often know at each stage of a cycle, there's like, that was great, and now I've outgrown that and I'm being called into something new. And I know for the people that I work with many people who are fine with visibility in one area of their life. The one client recently, she's like, I do presentations, I do training, I do this day in, day out, stand up in front of people and speak, and it's not a problem. But this new soul calling that's, I feel is asking me to step into it, I'm terrified. I'm terrified of being visible with this part of me. So just see if you can feel that. Just see, where are you in your calling? Is there a new beginning that's calling you? Because what this poem invites you into is believing in possibility, including believing in yourself, scariest of all, and trusting the promise of the opening. So that also requires you to notice all the thoughts and the beliefs around non-possibility that we carry, that are in the collective, that, have been internalized into your inner voice. That's not possible for me. The other, key message in this poem is awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Oof, I can feel how scary that is, to really commit, to make the commitment to the adventure and to not hold back and to take that soul-guided risk, the eyes wide open risk, not blind risk, not reckless risk, but I'm really getting the message that it's time to do this. And then when you've learning to find ease in risk, doing it again and again and again. And that is like, when you encounter a setback, what meaning do you make? Do you make the meaning as, oh, I'm not meant to do this? Or do you make the meaning like, oh, there's a lot that I need to learn here? And do you reach out for support and create safety around the risks? It's like, oh, I'm stepping into something big. Who can help me with this? Who can come along to my first workshop or retreat and co-deliver with me and make it safer? It's so important when you're engaging with risk to be generating your own safety and asking other people for help with that. Another client of mine worked with this poem when she was at the stage in her life where she was becoming an empty nester. Her youngest child was going off to college and she was embracing the new adventure, the new beginning at that time in her life. Another client worked with a different poem, but with a similar energy of trusting spirit. And, it helped him to get clear that the job he was in wasn't right for him anymore. And he was, very successful in his job, but he handed in his notice. He got another job that was part-time and less stressful, and trained as an acupuncturist. And the other job that he got was less stressful, but it was more soulful. So he was saying that his poem helped him to feel his own energy and feel a deeper presence of soul that was constantly flowing through him. And he just was so grateful to be walking his talk and coming back to the next level of his soul calling. So this is, what are you being invited to step into? And knowing that, we need support on this journey. And the right poem can really call you in to presence, to trusting, to feeling that voice. And when you're present, you can connect to your own deepest truth, your own powerful guidance system. If you can feel it, come out of the fear, trust it. It's deeper than your fears. It's deeper than the patterns, and it can reveal your next steps. And when you really tune in and listen to the voice of your soul, you recognize the truth signature. Even when it's scary, even when your knees are trembling, when you show up fully aligned with that energy, it won't lead you astray. You can trust it. So what would open up for you if you could find support that gave you the courage to trust your next steps, even if your destination is not yet clear? So it might be this poem, For a New Beginning by John O'Donoghue. It might be something else. And also, what could shift for you if you stepped into an energetic container that carried you along with its beauty, its potency, and its intimate understanding of your being? So if you are, would love to have space held for you in this process of stepping in and plugging into your soul's calling, there's something that I'm offering called the Magnetic Presence Retreat, where it's designed to really support you to step into a new energy and to listen deeply to the voice of your soul. So, and in that, if you sign up for that retreat, the next one is in April, you will be supported to choose a poem. I'll offer you a poetry prescription if you step in good time. You will also get access to the many poems for visibility. And in choosing that poem, just that step in feeling this is the poem that's calling me now. That reveals your soul calling. That in itself reveals, the energy that you need to be embodying. And then we go through a process of embodying that poem, of diving deep into what that message it has for you and what's speaking to you in those lines. Where is it stretching your energy? Where is it expanding you? Where is it activating new capabilities or releasing old ways of being? It's a really deep, profound process. And in that process, you have an experience of being seen and witnessed by the other participants. That's incredibly potent, incredibly profound. This deep witnessing of your beingness, your essence, who you are at a core beingness level. Because when you really experience that, experiencing your presence, your magnetic presence, you know that I don't have to do anything. I don't even have to be anything. I already am. And who I am, people receive so much goodness from the beingness of who I am when I just myself. It's such a gift to have that experience and to have so many people responding and telling you what they receive from your presence. And at the end of the retreat, you can continue, there are strategies to continue working with your poem on your own, to continue rewiring and living into your new energy. So you also, you're not alone afterwards. You have this companion for life. So if that's something that interests you, I'll put the link below for the Magnetic Presence Retreat, and just share with me here, take a moment to reflect what new insights are opening up for you. What are you taking away from this? What possibility opens up? What new beginning is calling you? And where is your soul calling taking you next? Share with me in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope to speak to you again soon. Bye for now.